Hello, good evening and welcome to UPfront. My name is Raymond Acquah. My guest today is a distinguished Ghanaian lawyer. He is a non-career diplomat and a politician. He served as Attorney General and Minister of Justice in the then Kufuor administration and was recently Ghana's High Commissioner to Land, Canada, of course, Canada. Tonight on UPfront, Nii Ayikoi Otoo has been summoned for a discussion on a potpourri of issues ranging from his unalloyed loyalty to the Gas state, the Alanchemante support, the current state of Ghana, and what the future holds. After this break, we'll settle with him and go into the final details of our conversation. You don't go away. I did tell you, and you're welcome back very specially, to all of you out there who are joining this show. It's a show that today we are looking into the life of a man who served as a politician and a lawyer for a very long time. For some time, a non-career diplomat, and also somebody who's been now into more advocacy than many would have known that to be. We'll be having conversations ranging from a long range of them. In fact, he's called Joseph too, so many people who forget that Joseph Nii Ayikoi Otoo, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I hope you are doing well this evening.
I'm doing well.
You are in good spirit, I suggest. I mean, you're looking very, very great. It's almost like you are enjoying life.
Well, you have all these things in your wardrobe. At times, you should be seen to be using them. Every occasion is an occasion. You shouldn't wait for a party. So today, I decided to do something different. That's all what I'll be using for such occasions.
You are known to be tough talking, right? How was diplomatic life, which required a lot of diplomatic communication and all of that?
Well, that's a good question. Usually before you go, you'll be taken through some orientation, you know, told a few things that you should do, you know, listen more, not say things which will hurt, you know, anybody, or especially to be seen to be criticizing the country where you have been posted. I can tell you an experience. You know, once a Ghanaian living in Toronto was shot dead, and people started making noise. They are killing our people, they are killing our people. So they came, brought a petition, and then we issued a statement. And the High Commissioner in Ghana here, the Canadian one, called and said, "Oh, His Excellency, do you know that the person you are talking about is a Canadian?" I said, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Oh, but he's a naturalized Canadian."
So he doesn't really?
No, it's not a Canadian at all. So these things you are doing, please be careful.
I can't believe that.
You are criticizing the government. We are handling our matter. Something has happened involving our citizens. It is not your palaver. So for those who are there who now are serving, they should know that it's not every Ghanaian you see there who is actually a Ghanaian.
Oh, I see. It doesn't matter the origins of the person.
No,
of course.
He has naturalized.
Yeah, so citizenship is actually by law.
Of course, and if you have a dual citizenship, that's a different matter. You can be talking about that, but as far as they know, you are their citizen, you are subject, and we don't have to, you know, put our noses where...
I mean...
So it's all a matter of, you know, trying to be cool, you know, listening to people, not saying things which will hurt, you know, and, you know, providing your service, you know, as a...
They say diplomats are economic agents for the country.
Yes, that is the other side we call economic diplomacy. And some of us who were posted to the leading countries, like the seven, what do you call them, you know, advanced countries, have quite a lot of problems, you know. The thing is that you may want one time maybe sit down and write your memoirs. But the point is that the imperialism, the colonialism, the neo-colonialism, and all that we had read before are really in vogue. And you find that trying to, you know, attract, you know, investment, what we call foreign direct investment, it's not that easy. Yeah, they always have a problem why they think your country Africa south of the Sahara in particular, is not a place to do business or anything, you know.
And they maintain that mentality even today.
Try to, you know, assure them that there's no evidence that we have been falling behind in our debts or whatever. But they tell you there is high risk and they don't want to come. You know, I always do a simple text and I ask you, can you tell me how many Italian companies you have found in Ghana before?
That's interesting.
Spanish companies, British companies. Take away the oil.
Yeah.
Those who are
Those are actually more recent phenomena anyway.
Extractive industries. Ask yourself, where are the companies?
Not many of them. It's Lebanese, Indian, more likely, sometimes
Lebanese,
Chinese.
Indians, Chinese.
Yeah.
Where are the rest? Where are they?
And these are partners that we've been having for God knows how long. We call them friends.
Yeah.
So ideally, investing in our country should be easy for them.
They will tell you that they are interested in what they call capacity building. And I ask them, what capacity are you building? What am I going to use the capacity you are built for?
Oh, yeah.
What is it? If there's nothing, you know. And all the other developed countries or the so-called Asian tigers and the rest that you see, I mean, these are same countries who wanted to take advantage of what we call cheap labor. And so they go and establish or relocate their businesses in those countries. They give them transfer technology there. They pay taxes to them. Some even take, you know, percentage of their profits as for allowing them to come and work in their country. And within a short time, do you see that they grow? I mean, when was Israel recognized as a state?
Yeah.
What is it that they don't have? Because they are there, they go there, they've done it. And then you blame ourselves. First of all, we have all the natural resources. What have we done with the natural resources? We don't control the natural resources.
That's also
Number
true.
one, we don't have the implements or whatever it is to dig them from the ground or the soil or even the sea. We don't have any machines, rigs, whatever. They bring them, and what is the kind of agreements that they sign with them? Everything should be raw. Even your cocoa, raw.
Yeah, we just send the raw beans.
Yeah, raw beans, and that is the agreement. And so, you see, when you don't face these things, I was just a practicing lawyer, concentrating on my law. I was not too much into development and attracting foreign direct investments and the rest. And then you go and meet it. Yeah, that this is how the thing works. And you find that, take a look at the investment destinations. You see that Africa, especially south of the Sahara, take away only 2 countries. Kenya, South Africa.
Yeah.
And in West Africa, Nigeria, because they have a large population. So you do business with them, you can make it. They have oil and all that. But those other places, they have their kin and kith there. So it's easy to talk about Kenya, it's easy to talk about South Africa, you know. But it's unfortunate, you know, that I don't know the debriefing that goes on after you've gone to serve and the difficulties that you might have faced and the challenges and then the way forward. You know, you can have, what do you call it, 30 years of democracy, and you tout it that, oh, this stable government. For them, it's nothing. That once MPP changes to NDC, there's a problem. Because they will not
continue with policies of the past.
Policies of the past, for example.
And that lack of stability is worrying for
them,
business.
that is a lack of stability. Although you see 30 years of
continuity.
MPP, NDC, MPP, for them, they don't see that way. Because there is no sure that you continue with the policy. You pay even the policies, or you come and tell me that the debt was not properly contracted, or you bring other things that there was no, for example.
I mean, these are very fundamental issues that no matter, if we don't deal with them properly, we may not be able to, we might actually be setting up institutions and sending people out there, but they may not achieve the results. That's
nothing. I mean, to stand and say we are rich in natural, we have you have nothing. Who controls the prices? You.
They set the prices.
Commodity market, they go and sell the things on commodity and buy, tell you how much a ton of, you know, cocoa beans will sell, and you will break your back preparing the cocoa beans, and then you don't determine the prices. I mean, these are things that, if you go and face them, you know, you realize that, no. We have a long way to go. It's not only corruption, yes. There is corruption, yes. Are they better than we are? All the laws about defrauding by false pretenses, fraud, and where did they come from? They
copied from them.
They do all those things. But why? The system is such that you are not to industrialize. You must be a primary product producer, continue to produce primary products.
And be the consumer again.
And they will add the value and bring these things back to you at a price.
But this was supposed to be a conversation in 1950s, 40s.
It's always been.
We are in 2023. And I'm asking this because from your experience over all the places you've served and the fact that you've been in what can we do differently? So when you come back, do they sit with you and say, so Nii, you went to do this job. What can we learn from it?
That's the briefing I'm talking about. And where does it take place?
Doesn't happen.
You are in your house, and that's it. Everything you know is in your head.
Seriously?
But then what I'm saying is that it was then I realized that our educational system has a problem with some of these development issues. Who do you teach? These things that we go and meet. Do we learn? When Kwame Nkrumah wrote Africa Must Unite, did anybody listen to him? Recently somebody was saying that when he wrote that thing, they put him on a very high alert, something very dangerous individual.
And that's why it was removed.
Then he went and wrote Neo-colonialism in the last stage of imperialism. Oh, that's all he must do. How many of us have read those books?
That's an interesting point. I like those.
Do they teach these things in school?
Not necessarily the reference documents, yeah.
No, they don't teach. And that is a thing. We don't understand the world in which we are operating. That was what I felt. And because I had a lot of time on my hands. You see, you go to work around 10 and you have to close around 3. It is not because you are giving early, go and take shower very early. No. But because almost every evening there's something we call somebody's National Day celebration. And if you don't go, somebody will not come to yours. Okay. So almost every day there is some National Day celebration. So you close, you have to go and prepare and go for a reception. Okay. To join others. So now you can use your time the way you like, compared with when you are in Ghana and all the pressure. So just read books and keep reading the books and find out why. What is the problem? Where is the debt? Are they giving us aid? This thing they call aid, is it aid? Is it really aid? They give you money, they call it aid, and that thing is a loan. And you are going to pay, and they say they call it aid. Yeah. Not grant, they say aid.
Yes, that's true.
The kind of things happening, the world economic structure, if you sit down and look at it and study it well, see that it is not our time. Not much can happen during our time. Really? I'm telling you, not much. If they decide they want you to... Look, when this nonsense of apartheid was going on in South Africa, and they didn't want to help, was there anything we could do? No. Until they decided that we're going to apply economic sanctions. Yeah, that's when change happened. That is when the change happened. So once they decide that this is the way we want to go, want to leave you to do your own thing with Paul Kagame, you can even go 10 times, we don't care. We are talking about time limitation, but there's somebody who's going without any time and he's being touted, this economy is doing well. Allow him to do. No, otherwise they organize the coups and kill you. I mean, how can you talk about CFA? Your country's money is printed from France and you keep your reserves there. And when you want money, they give it to you as a loan and you pay interest on it. And CFA. And if you want to change it, there's problem. You talk about it, they kill you. Oh. If it was that difficult to operate in that space, I'm just thinking about how it will be now. If even at the time that we were perhaps in a slightly better economic shape, those realities were there. It's always been realities. They are realities. I'm talking about now that we are basically trying to get help and all of that. How can we still attract all the things we want, like investments and all of that? That's why I'm telling you that it's not easy at all. You watch this our one district, one factory. Who are coming? Indians and Chinese. That's all. Because the Rollins came and sacked the Lebanese and Syrians and the rest, it threw them out of the country. But even then, look at our economy. All the so-called big shopping malls Are they owned by Ghanaians?
No, I'm told so.
Yeah, they're big shopping malls that you see. They are not owned by us. They're big vehicle distribution companies. Silver Star, Swiss, this, that. Wait, how many of them are owned by Ghanaians? Our economy is not controlled by us. Seriously. I mean, if you sit down and come to I live on the Sprinters Road. You come to the Sprinters Road and look at the factories or industry that you were to ask us, how many Ghanaians own anything there?
Can we change this?
Well, I'm saying that we need to change the educational system, and let's talk about some of these things. Let the people know. They will begin to think, and then that is when we'll begin to. I mean,
that's a long haul, right?
Yeah, if you don't do, for example, political science in school, where are you going to do development economics?
Yes.
What do you care about that?
That's true.
Someone else doing religion is reading English language, is reading law, is doing something else. But why don't we put it into our curriculum? When we were young, we had funny books like Makers of Civilization. And they will tell you that they rather, saw to it that slavery was abolished and this and that. And Mungo Park discovered this and this. And those are the things they give you to read. And what are we doing to ourselves now when we are also becoming a little, how do we put it? We try to push maybe one tribe over the other. And against the constitutional dictates of what we ought to do. And we seem to be doing that all the time.
Really? Is that what we are doing today?
I'm
asking you that because...
We'll come to discuss some of my issues.
In fact,
when I talk
it is what I'm going to.
Okay.
As president of the Gadangbe Council, you have backed the assertion by the government chair that Ghanaians have been mistreated and sidelined on their own land.
Well,
what's the evidence to back it since you're a lawyer?
You don't need any evidence. Where are the lands? How many people, how many tribes, if you like, have suffered when it comes to compulsory acquisition of lands?
That's the government taking their lands from them.
Yes, that's called compulsory acquisition. I mean, which
but your land's a capital city.
Yes. So it doesn't need any evidence because you can see the evidence for yourself. Look at the land at the airport. See the size of that airport. It's somebody's land. The people of La. It's been taken. University of Ghana. Just the ministries. Where? Almost everything has been taken and they belong to our people. And what do we gain? Most of the time, the compensation has not even been paid.
Most of the time?
Yeah, the compensation has not been paid. Because, when you start talking about money, people take advantage. Say, I'm also interested. So once the government cannot be sure of who to pay compensation to, you've given him a leeway to refuse to pay.
Yeah, I understand that the issue of Chimota lands has also been raging because of the whoever is supposed to be legitimately being paid has been a very thorny issue.
Almost every time. Once you even the Kole Lagoon and all those those issues have continued. But because they keep taking it, they need it in the public interest. So they go about taking it. And we don't get anything. Now look at the kind of constitutional qualification to go to parliament. It is either you hail from or...
I've lived.
Yeah, you live there for a certain number of years, 10 years and the rest. How many of our people are in parliament today?
As in Ghana people?
Yes. How many?
Oh yeah, that's an interesting point.
So you can count, for example, on our side, you can count the regional minister.
Yes.
You can count Tina Ayele Mensah.
Yeah, Weja.
And one
Tema. Yes, Naughty.
Tema.
Yes.
That's it. 34 seats, and
but
looking at
the place has become a very cosmopolitan area.
But that is your definition of cosmopolitan. Who says that the people who hail from should not be represented? Do they understand our customs? Those who are representing us, do they understand?
But Ghanaians also vote for the people.
Well, of course. I mean, that is what you have. And you have to go through primaries. So why don't we think about systems of assisting people like that, like, what do you call it?
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action and the rest. I mean, people like Peter Lajete were able to put their feet down and to say that, no, along the coast, at least get these people represented. Otherwise, this is what we are going to get. And then in the cabinet, you know somebody called Nii Ayikoi Otoo. Yes. He's a minister, full minister.
Yeah.
Can you remember any guy named there?
Maybe my memory is poor.
No, not
competent.
No, but we always mention names. So if it's there, you know. There is nobody that can come to Deputy Minister Nii Ayikoi
yes.
Mensa. That's all.
That's all.
Yeah, one minister, one deputy. But don't you think that it is only us complaining? Go to the minister, is it for lands or energy? The guy from Volta region. Oh, no,
that's John Peter Mewu. It's
now
railway, yes.
Railways, yes. And go to Krampa.
Yes, Krampa.
That's it. That's for Volta.
Oh, so
but the Constitution doesn't say so. It talks about regional balance in our appointments. We should think about this. And we have qualified people who can also. It's like Gamp Mancha is complaining. You should understand. These are some of the issues. There are plenty of them. The language, you know, who is teaching Ga in the Greater Accra region? We talk about it.
Recently, there was a survey that said that the Ga is going extinct.
Yeah,
and that they are struggling to get teachers to teach it.
Yes, that is another part of the problem. But generally, you are not teaching the language, and people are being taught Akwapim Tree. And they are insisting that, we teach Akwapim Tree and the rest. And you talk.
But they can't find the teachers.
Who says who? That is just,
quite frankly, that's been a very legitimate issue.
There are some places, and then they will tell you that even when they go and come, they are posted outside Accra.
Oh, okay.
And then when the government Chinese people go and talk about it and say, oh, why don't you bring back some of these people? So, we assure you they will come. Up to that, nobody has come back. Nobody has been brought back. Because those there also claim that, well, they are teaching for them and they want them to stay. Because you see, you find that what I learned from my research is that if you do a Ghanaian language and you major in that alone, you may be circumscribed somehow. You know, so they always advise, why don't you add a hair? So when the person is sent out,
they go and teach the alternative course. Okay, okay, it makes sense. But they are pulling out and not, doing a lot, because this issue you raised, I've heard Professor Raymond also make references to some of these matters. How do we fix it? Affirmative action?
Well, one affirmative action is one of the best things that you can do. Because, you see, there are quite a number of that. My experience from Canada, again, will tell you that the lands that were taken from the indigenous people they call Inuits, they recognize them at every function, that they allow them to pour libation.
That doesn't happen anymore.
No, they've stopped.
Should we bring it back?
But why not? We are in Accra lands. We also have our gods, we have our customs, we have our tradition. This can be done and shown to other people who visit. Why is it that in only at Accra, no more. But you can import people to come and dance other things and show and tell you. Who says that we don't have an equivalent of Akwaba? We used to say Awawa too. When we were young, you live in nuclear house, you go to the family house, and immediately the old people they run to you and say, Awawa too, and then that is welcome. The Gangme people say, Moye, Moye. We have them, but deliberately say that you don't have it, so it should be replaced with Akwaba. So everywhere you go should be Akwaba. You can't say Awawa too.
It's true, that's almost official, from the airport straight down to any place.
Yes, but the airport when we were young, we had Awawa too.
Yeah, oh, really?
Well, where you have this, the 6 people, you know, the big 6 thing. I remember seeing things like Awawa too and the rest. You know, but why? I mean, sometimes I was giving the example when you people were talking about food. I wrote to you. We used to show you Kali or your Ketatale. All of us said Gobe.
Yes.
When?
It's the official representation.
When you were growing up, did you hear anything called Gobe?
Not at all.
So why is it that the Ga word, your Ketatale, your Kegari, should now give way to something they call Gobe?
It's not evolution of...
there is nothing evolution. That is why we are telling you that what you are doing is dangerous. And you should stop it. You should stop it. Your Kegari. Rollins came, he was telling us, I used to eat your kegari. Why didn't Rollins say, I used to eat gobe? Was there any word like that? Just recently. So what is this deliberate thing of pushing the people out completely? You take our land there, you're going to build Kaya hostel for them. Have you visited Bukum before?
Yeah.
Jamestown?
Yeah.
You've seen the population?
A very huge one.
Where do they sleep? Where do they sleep?
Well, I've not thought about that.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yes.
No, you visit two best, two best periods are in the night and early morning. And go and see things for yourself. People are sleeping on the streets. You know, so it's quite a huge matter for us. And
are you being engaged on it? Are there attempts to fix this? I mean, are the people who are supposed to fix it aware of it?
Well, they should be. And you see, this whole idea of let people come and live with us. You know, we have a term for it. What do you call it? So we have nothing against, you know, strangers. Anybody can come and live with us. You know, that same idea led us to go and take if you like, a non-indigenous to lead the Gadangme when they started doing it for the first time, which made people to really go back. Maybe how? If your complaint is that your traditions, your language and things, and then you bring in a leader who is not an indigenous. Meanwhile, all the rest under him are very knowledgeable. J.S. Ado, former governor of Bank of Ghana, Atukwe Okai, professors, all of them are there, yet they push up. Because always think of Ablekumawa, let other people come. What is that? That, to a very large extent, affected the fight.
What are you doing differently?
Oh, completely. I mean, now we've set up structures. The first thing we did was to ensure that we get the Constitution working. And the Constitution has a provision for what we call standing, you know, committees. You know, quite many of them, health committees and education and heritage and, you know, development and the rest. Now, how can you expect only the leadership to have all the knowledge to do things? You work through committees.
Committees, yeah.
So we inaugurated the committees recently. I think it was, widely covered, you know. So we've tasked them to come out with the policies by a certain date, and they are doing that. We've set up a database, you know, of Gadangwis. I mean, if Jews can do that to make sure that they work among themselves, why can't we do that?
Okay.
Because if you're already overwhelmed by others, then it means that anytime you have anything you want to do, the first point of call may be a non-indigenous. So we're looking at a professional database, you know, of getting people together, you know, so we can work. We're looking at even amending the Constitution, taking certain parts. When we talk of Gadangme, we are not talking of only gas, but we are saying Ga and Dangme all the way to Shai, Usudoku. So when we are doing things, they should be seen as being part of, you know, so you can't leave them. So we've created another vice, you know, chairmanship or presidential position, which can go to Dangme to be on the up there. And we're now looking at getting the policies together, all these things done properly. If you are in educational policy, educational committee, and you think that we have problems, you know that we have problems with our language, what suggestions would you bring? So we are waiting for them to come out with the policies, and then we'll move with it and running. But we are already doing quite a lot. We've not been in office for long.
Well, now let me bring you into some other things. Of course, we're in national politics. The NPP and the NDC have been at each other's throats over the Brian Echampong comment. I mean, reports have been made to the police. You are a former Attorney General and a lawyer of the extension. Politicians, and I recall in the Sir John case, you gave some explanation. You talked about Popo Blibli and the other things people say on platforms.
No, I spoke about Beshi.
Beshi, yes. No,
the NDC people
that said the Popo Blibli.
Find another
term for it. Okay, yeah, but in the Beshi case, you say platforms happen, and you, of course, make reference to this. And you actually talk about singing Woyome on the platforms too.
We even sing Oye Sekeni Woye. You understand?
Yes.
Big man said Oye Sekeni Woye, Ole Sekeni Woye. How?
But people are worried that this is raising the temperature in the country.
Oh, but it's a media thing. You see, I've always said it. Look, you can have very intelligent discussions. Call people who are knowledgeable on a subject. Let them come and have a discussion. There is no point at all in my view. Why anytime you call one NDC supporter, you should call MPP supporter. That's what you people do. I've been talking about it anywhere I go. Why can't we have a dispassionate discussion? Like this morning, we were talking about constitutional amendment. You brought one person. He's talking. It's okay.
Yes.
Should it always be MPP, NDC? So if you continue that way, we're not going to stop this. You people have taken up. You know this is nonsense. You know what he said. It will not go anywhere. You know, you've been in this country.
But he's been security minister before, minister of state.
It doesn't matter.
He has been fingered in the report of the IRS West Wagon Commission.
Therefore what? For
reprimand.
Therefore.
They say that his voice carries weight.
Well, it carries what weight? I'm asking you, from 1992-3, when we started having elections, immediately the EC declares the results. What happened?
Does just hand over and move on, yes.
Does anybody? Do we even have a handing over ceremony? It is not even.
Yeah, things change automatically.
It's automatically serving you just leave office. When Rawlings left office. This is nonsense that we shouldn't waste our time on. It is the media that is hyping it.
Really?
Unnecessarily. What can a champion do? Once the results are declared, the law is clear. Official duty is presumed to have been officially done. We are finished.
But is that how ministers should be speaking?
That's a different matter.
And I mean,
but it will take you. It will take you back to the platform thing that I spoke about. Okay. You're on a platform. You've seen so many people who are your supporters. You begin to feel that 2024 is a done deal again. We are not going to hand over to anybody. We will remain in office. Why have you taken that off? Because he seemed to be saying that, look, we will not hand over because we will win again. So if I win, why should I hand over? So why should this become an issue for us to talk about and people making complaints? Achampo said they won't hand over. Who is Achampo? It's only one individual who has expressed his opinion on a political platform.
But the party backed the decision. Yeah. Oh, the party issued a statement to back him.
Yeah, because...
Was that responsible as well?
Because the press started. The media started.
No, but we didn't put the words in this.
We haven't said you should put any words.
Yes, but the man said the statement.
You started.
Your political party of distinguished lawyers and people of renown backed that particular decision.
Yes, but you didn't even play the entire thing because what he said was that we are going to win and therefore there's no need for us to hand over to anybody. In any case, once you begin to attack somebody, expect that you're going to get people to come and defend.
So was it right that the party did it?
What? Why? Why shouldn't the party do it? The party said, the man said, said nothing wrong. He's seen the figures. He's happy. He thinks that we would remain in power. If you remain in power, you don't hand over.
Should we encourage ministers to be speaking like that?
It is even unnecessary. You see, we should not raise it to this level.
Okay. But they already filed a counter-claim that Mahama said do or die.
But it is, that's why I'm telling you, if you begin to attack somebody, the person will begin to look for defense. So they are only defensive. All that is happening. Immediately you report to the police. I also report to the
What should the police do?
What would they do? They won't do anything. This is political talk.
But you've been the Minister of Justice before.
No, but in political talk, you say things.
Laws have been invoked. They say Section 208.
I don't
they have referenced.
Look at it.
Really?
I don't want to.
You don't think it was going to go anywhere?
Why? I mean, what is this? Political platform, people go and private, we'll meet you, we'll match you boot for boot. If you bring soldiers, we'll bring soldiers. We have heard these things. On the day of the election, there's so much peace and quiet. They tell you, don't even put a party T-shirt anywhere near the polling station. Do you see people doing that? People respect laws in this country. Go home, come back, let's count. It is declared, and once it is declared, that's all. How many people have gone on the rampage to misbehave? How many times, apart from what we saw a few incidents that happened at the last election? We've had several elections in this country. Even when
is that enough reason for us to be worried about whatever politicians say?
You don't have to think about it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Shouldn't they rather be incentivized not to say it?
Why? They are talking to you. You have to, don't you know what they call energize the base?
Oh, really?
Let me give you the example of Trump. Well,
that's not a very dangerous example.
Well, yes, but let me give it to you just so that you see the ending. When he called upon the vice president not to certify the results, and he called on his people to make sure that the results would not be certified, they went to attack Congress. They did everything. The vice president said, look, I have a constitutional duty to do and perform. I'm going to perform it. He certified the results. What happened? Didn't he leave office?
Okay, of course, he did.
So what is that Champon talking about? Who is he going to tell to stay in office if the EC comes and says you have lost the election? I can give you a very funny example. Somebody came and called me and said, look, you know, this woman is a mama's person, and they have decided to rig the elections. And, you know, she's not going to declare the elections from the party headquarters. They have a place with a helipad ready. And she would, I don't know what...
But the person told you that?
Oh, yes. And that he even forced me to go and do an inspection. We couldn't even get to the rooftop. There was no place to go.
This is an interesting point.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, the woman came, declared the results. And the MPP people started shouting, we have won. That's all. Mahama left office. You know, so some of these things, you actually give too much traction to them. I mean, they are political talk. People say all sorts of things on the political platform.
Why do you support Alan John Kojo Kyeremate?
Well, first of all, you being in the media means you've been following the political trend, because in the mornings, these are the things we talk about. Your friend, the one who died, what is his name? The lawyer, the first guy who died, Kobina Dumo.
Yes.
He said he was not going to do newspaper review like the way we do it, but he will take topics and then you discuss. So you've been doing all these discussions, and you would know that we have a tradition, you know, that we also reward people who have been in the party for some time. And you know, the perfect example is the current chairperson. How many times did he run? 5 times or so. You know, and people realize that, look, maybe there's something in it. This is his time. So why don't we just give it to him? You know, I ran with others. I went in and even pulled out, you know, and looking at the tradition, you know, some of us believe that this is the time of Alan now.
So he's not the best person to be, but it's just his turn.
Oh, when you talk of best person, when Nana was running, we were saying things like, me, I don't speak pretty well. Or something
yes,
like
yes, yes.
What were we saying?
That is known.
And is it not time for him? That was his time. But when he went against Kufo, where was he? What happened to him?
He lost.
Yes. And was he happy?
Not at all.
Do you know what happened thereafter? People had to go in and talk. When he fought with Alan, was he able to cross 50?
No.
Yes, but Alan said, you are my senior brother, go. So you don't see the tradition? Yeah, so that's the tradition. It's not because he's just status, but he's paid his dues. I mean, you know him. He's paid his dues. He's served as a minister.
Does it stand a good chance, though? It appears that the vice president has a lot of support, great support from people in government. There's a saying that's been parroted a lot, that most of you support Alan Kyeremate are former, what they call it, appointees with no control of the masses who are likely to make the decision. Does it stand a good chance?
Who are the masses?
As in the delegates that we are talking about, that you do not really control them. The people in office today are the ones with the resources to control, to actually further the, and Bawumia then has an upper hand. That's what they're saying.
You were doing the analysis at the stadium during the elections.
Yes.
And you saw what happened to somebody who was the best choice for everybody and had everything supporting him and going for him. Did it happen?
No.
So please. I mean, it's easier to say so, that maybe he has the resources and the rest. But, you know, getting to the end, people will tell you, if they bring the body, take a job. But you know what you want to do. So the money will be there, all right. It's not that there will not be money. As to whether the money can make them do what they are asking for, is another matter. Nobody is saying that the vice president is not a good material. You know, but in the tradition and what we have seen, what we are saying is that he can also buy his time. After all, if the statistics that we know is correct, it's not yet 60 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not yet 60. So he still can be there, and also having shown, you know, the willingness to contest, maybe. But it's quite... Alan stands a good chance.
To ensure continuity, don't you think he will be the best vice president?
What kind of continuity?
Oh, the party has been on for 8 years. Somebody who's already been vice president, very closer to delivering on the ethos of the party going forward, mindful of the current economic situation you find ourselves in.
Especially the economic situation in which we find ourselves in, yes. So that's why Nigeria changed the vice president.
Oh, okay.
Someone else, and they won. And they broke the 8.
I see.
Nigeria.
Yes, Nigeria, yeah.
The situation was no different from here. Economically, everything. People were building banks. Yes. And who would have thought that they would have won again? Assuming we don't know the history, but you know, when people lose elections, they always complain about the fact that the elections have been rigged. Yeah. So we hear stories like that. But at the end of the day, he won. Isn't it? The man who is about 80 years says now he's 70.
Oh, yes, he says he's 70 actually. So that's really the difference.
But the evidence shows clearly that he's old.
I need to ask you the very last question on this one, because they have indicated to me that I don't have any time left. Let's talk the Constitution. You've been Attorney General before. Yeah. I have read elsewhere that you think our Constitution is fine. You think that the majority of ministers should come from Parliament. You think that we should not be electing our DCs. I mean, the current wave and the feeling of the people of this republic is in support of a lot of changes. I'm even asking for overhaul.
Nobody is saying that there's no need for an amendment. Nobody has said that. It is those who are saying, let us overthrow the entire Constitution. No, I think that's not part of the conversation. Those are the people that we are against. Okay. But, you know, the dynamics of every election will determine what we will do. The promises, you think Mama is talking about Article 71, out of where? It's because that is what people are talking about now. So it's now a matter. So if people are talking about constitutional amendment, I'm sure that our people will also look at it. Look, there is history behind getting ministers
from Parliament.
From Parliament, because Lehman's budget was defeated because he did not have the men.
A long time ago.
Yes, and you are saying, oh, but that was what influenced the idea. Because otherwise, I go out and choose ministers from anywhere. Yeah. Then you have a budget here. And you are saying what is happening with this 137, 137. Somebody had to be brought from where? In the hospital, in an ambulance, and the rest to go and cast his vote. So imagine if these people do not even belong to Parliament at all. So there were good reasons, you know. Rawlings didn't want any, you know, the divisions, as it were, going lower the political ladder. So don't make it look like it's a political thing. Let people go and contest elections and the rest. Okay. But now, having run the thing for 30 years, there are some areas that we all believe that we need to do something about it. But otherwise, it has served as well.
Okay, that's your point you're making.
Yeah, those who don't understand it should go and read it well. It has served as well. There are a few areas that...
Like what? One area that you want?
Oh, we have all spoken about the fact that now we are talking about more accountability. So make the MCE or whoever it is, let him go and contest election.
Okay.
And Article 71, why don't you just determine somebody's salary? But you allow him to stay there for how many years? 4 years, then you say you are not going to determine, and then you pay him, back pay and huge money. And they don't make sense. So some of them, which we can change, I'm sure we can change them.
Nii, I think this should be part 1.
Okay.
We should do consistently these conversations.
I don't have any problem.
And I'm grateful to you for coming tonight.
I don't have any problem.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's when we end today's edition of UPfront. Many thanks to you for watching.